Hey, so we're back with part 2 of our social media and conversation. And so in the last episode, I was sharing how I've kind of been cleaning up my social accounts to follow people that are aligned more with my beliefs and, my desires, and also unfollowing people that kind of go against that, or not against that, but that are, I guess it just kind of makes me feel down.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, just because I don't think I shared this part in the last episode, but kind of the whole reason for that is we were talking about the armor of God. And part of that, one of the focuses that we were talking about during that time, before I had that conviction to clean up the social media, was we were talking about the breastplate of righteousness, right? And how the breastplate is, it covers all of our internal organs, like the major parts of our bodies, right? Like,
Yes.
And the biggest thing was the heart. Like, it protects the heart. And, what you allow into your heart, which is connected to your brain, like your mind, it's like almost the same thing, right? Because whatever is in your heart, like if you're hurt or if you're bitter, it'll come out, right? You'll start thinking about them, or it'll come out through your words.
Yeah.
And so in order to protect ourselves from, those attacks or just those little things that can be triggers, we put on that part of the armor, right? And so, what we feed ourselves, so what we see, we hear, we see, hear, I think those are the two things, right? Right. So read, watch, listen to, is kind of like a big thing, right? It's a big deal. And so part of that cleanse, I guess it was kind of a cleanse, was just armoring up.
Yes. I think I have to continue to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And, we talked about, what you're doing right now. We can think of it like, oh, the algorithm. The more people that you're less like, it tells the social media that, hey, they don't want to follow these type of things. You don't want to. And their social media's goal is to get you to engage.
Right.
And the more things you follow is like, hey, let's go feed this person more stuff. And then maybe put your content out there for them, vice versa. But then there's also, like you mentioned in the last episode, really is, let's acknowledge that God could send people your way.
Right.
It could be through the algorithm, or it could be just like, hey,
I liked you, or you liked me, and I'm going to follow you back, or something like that. Yeah.
And so maybe a prompting of the Holy Spirit, right?
Yeah.
And so really, I mean, we've done this. So on social media, you can easily say, hey, it's the algorithm. But we've done this in our personal life, right?
Yes.
When it comes to like drinking. Like, we are not drinkers. And it was almost like, for me, even though I wasn't a drinker, I have a lot of friends that drink. You have know a lot of people that drink, right? But there was a time where it's like, oh, well, I think I have to just kind of put a distance. I'm still friends. We still meet up. But, frequently, the frequency is a little bit different. And you kind of like, that takes faith, because it's like, God, I don't have any friends. In my world, I think everybody drinks. But then slowly but surely, there was people in our lives, and even people that don't even share the same faith. They're like, oh, we don't drink. I was like, what? It's like, is that a faith thing or religion thing? Some people just don't drink. Right. And it's like, interesting. What are the odds? I mean, it could be, and there's no algorithm to life, or maybe there is. But I see it as an answer to prayers, right? And it kind of builds the faith. And so going to negativity and positivity, everything that you feed yourselves.
Right.
I learned this early on, and a lot of people disagree. And it's harder because I don't watch the news. And I grew up in the, this is 24/7 news cycle, right? You got those channels, CNN, Fox News,
Right.
always constantly. I remember going in middle school, we had one teacher, she had the TV on. Even after we left, it was on 24/7 on the news. It was kind of like, oh, cool. That's interesting. But I do know people that just have the news 24/7. And in the mid 2000s, I was reading books. I was going to seminars, and they were like, "News is poison."
Yeah.
And they're like, "If there's something important, you're gonna find out. People are gonna let you know." And sure enough, to this day, any major disaster, anything, somebody will let you know. Pandemic, somebody is calling you,
Right.
to make sure your neighbor is physically talking to you if something that big came up. And really, I'm so for the 2000s, right? And even the 2010s, but even the last few years, slowly the news has been creeping into my life. And that's because of social media. Whether it's Facebook, whether it's like even a topic that has nothing to do with politics, somehow people are able to make it political. They talk about the movie, and they're like, this is a political. They talk about this, and it becomes political.
Right.
And, it just reminded me, I was off of Reddit for about a year. And then I started going back on because it's been a year.
Yeah. And you did a really good job during that year.
Yeah, I did a really good job. It's still blocked on my computer. It's very difficult. I would have to look up how to unblock it because I blocked it multiple ways on my computer. On my phone, though, it's hard because Reddit has a lot of valuable information, right? But then I do get sucked in, and you become, like the cultures of the different subreddits that you're in, and different fandoms. There's a few online. I don't really go there much, but I do like shows. But when I was off of Reddit, it's like, why am I on Reddit? Because I want to talk to people that like Star Wars or Marvel.
This is the same thing.
But then it's like, why don't I just talk to real people in real life? Talk to Cassy, talk to my friends like Corey, why am I going online, for this with online strangers? And then sure enough, like some of those subreddits are very, very toxic. I don't know what it is. And there's a psychological phenomenon. But it's reminding me about genuine, real connection. We substitute it with like, hey, there's just that wanting that connection.
Yeah.
And we can have that connection if we have faith and we intentionally go out there.
Yeah. I think the big thing is intention. It's, it takes intention to stop something. It takes intention to start something and to look for what you want, right? And I think that's something that, like we're learning. Intention is everything, right? Prayer and intention, it takes intention to pray.
Yeah.
And so if you're intentional about it, then I think that you have more of control, to really find what you're looking for with God's help, of course.
I think for me, this part of my life about growth is realizing that I have a little tendency to be a people pleaser, wanting everybody to like me, wanting to be friends with everyone. And biblically, it tells you not to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and if you have that spiritually, from a spiritual side, and we'll get into the mental psychology side, but on a spiritual side, it's like only God can fill that hole in your heart. It's really a desire for a relationship with Christ. On the mental side, it's kind of like there's people that you're boundaries. There's people that you're friends with, and there's people that you're friendly with.
Right.
And, it's basically the same thing as the Bible. Don't try to be friends with everyone. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
I've been going through therapy, and they talk about attachments and how your early childhood and childhood, events and situations and relationships can affect how you view things. And I think a part of me is like, moving around, changing schools a lot, moving around a lot, being in the environment is kind of like, that is a survival or safety for me, is making as many connections as possible. That transfers well into business because then it's like networking.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm indiscriminate. So it's like I'm trying to make friends with everyone, which didn't seem problematic until recently, where you realize like you get confused, you don't know, you lose your sense of identity. You're not firm with who you are and your values. You may be firm internally, but you don't want to offend because I'm a people pleaser. But now it's like, no, you can't compromise. There's some things I know for a fact that I won't compromise. And I haven't, you want to be politically correct, right?
Right.
And there's some things that is like, is this a hill you're going to die on? But when it comes to faith, that is one thing that I won't compromise on. And that probably started my journey of really filtering out my Facebook. And it wasn't based on people, that have the same faith as me. It's values. There are some people that I had to unfriend, even though they are believers, right? It was just a personal conviction, personal choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't something like I could have easily, the Bible didn't say like unfriend this person, right? And for another person, it might have been like, hey, you are called to be with them, to sharpen them, but I knew that it wasn't healthy for me. What I saw when I started unfriending was like negativity. And it's okay. We all get negative. I get negative. But I didn't like who I was becoming, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't like the intersect of American politics with Christianity. There's a difference between worshiping a politician and, feeling your convictions to revolving your whole life on a political identity.
Sure.
And then that could lead to conspiracies and all that. But for me, I just wanted to, I cleaned up. I think I had well over 1,000.
You had a lot of
It took a long time. It took like over a week to unfriend.
Yeah.
And even some of my mentors and colleagues are like, are you sure? Because that's the FOMO, right? Not only from a friendship point of view, but from a business point of view. You are cutting off connections of potential partners, customers, right?
Yeah.
People that could refer people to you. It costs nothing. That's the thing about social media. It really costs you financially. It doesn't cost you anything to make that connection. Like this is a gold mine, not from a business perspective. But on your personal, your mental health, your spiritual health, it will cost you something. It'll cost you time, energy. And I felt convicted to unfriend on that. And also recently, I started adding people on, and it was like, it was a reminder, like, I can't just add people. You got to vet people. And it wasn't until, Cassy says this, you don't have to unfriend them. You can just unfollow them. You won't see their stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But then, and it's sometimes for me, it's like, right away, I had to see like 3 different posts. And, I already knew like, so like I said, even if you don't have the same faith, I'm not going to discriminate based on that. I have friends that they don't have the same faith as me. But then there comes a point where it's like, okay, they're into some new age things, which generally now that should have been my litmus test, because I unfriend a lot of people that are like that, depending on how heavy they're into it, just for personal convictions. But the second thing was they started like mocking like Christians. And then one comment, I kind of commented like, hey, this is actually what our perspective is. Yeah. So that was the first post. So I was like, maybe there's an opportunity to grow. And they actually received it very well. And then there was just something in them that just kept mocking Christians, kept mocking the Bible, kept mocking God, basically, which they don't believe in. And rather than address that, because not everything has to be addressed, that they're free to do whatever they want to do. I've already said my point of view on one thing. I was like, I can't, right now, I don't feel like I'm called to be that person for them. And right now, friends, Facebook friends, they're not really a friend.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to unfriend. And it's like a reminder, like, oh, you can't just be, because there were some people, particular person friended me, and we connected on health and wellness. We connected on doTERRA, basically. And it's just like, and some people don't understand that. I've had some people that message, I noticed you unfriend me. Why? And then sometimes I do normally tell them, I said, hey, I just at a different point of life, just trying to and to share.
Yeah.
And you can't be a people pleaser. It has to be firm. And I have lost those types of relationships, but you have to choose, like, if those are the relationships you want to fight for.
So I think that, for me, I know, like, for me, making friends is like, I really have to get to know you before I add you. My Facebook and my Instagram, like my personal accounts, are private for this reason. They were public at one point, but I just, I couldn't really be myself and post what I wanted to post, pertaining to certain things at that time. And so when, like I do have a list of people who have requested to follow me, and I just go like, I don't know them, or like they're a mutual friend of ours, or it's because of doTERRA or whatever it is. And I just go, I don't know you personally. We've never had a conversation. And if we did, it wasn't enough for me to really get to know you.
Yeah.
Because I really value friendships. Like, if you say that, if you want to be my friend, like, you're going to be my friend. Like, I'm going to make this happen where, we can actually have a conversation. We have stuff in common, or, it's reaching out to just check in.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be friends. Like, we're more than just the status of friends.
Yes.
We're actually going to have that relationship. And so, and while not all of my friends on my socials, we don't have those, regular things from time to time, but, we did have a relationship at some point in life. And for me, sometimes I still enjoy seeing what their family's up to. I can't say if, for them, if they enjoy to see my post, but maybe they don't even see my posts. But it's just not a conviction at this point to remove them, because at one time or another, we were friends. We did have a relationship. And I think that's my point, is that if you're going to friend me on a platform, the criteria is that we have some sort of relationship, or, there's some sort of benefit, or, whatever it is. And it's just not, willy-nilly, just, okay, accept, everyone who comes through, go follow my public pages. That's fine. But for me, there's some, like, I need space for me.
Yeah. I think you're really good at that, even in real life, right? We've done a lot of personality type tests, right? With the Gallup Strength Finders. You have a lot of, you're all relationship, the blue.
Pretty much, yeah, my top 5.
And there is one strength. Do you remember what it is that indicates that you're the type of person that you don't have, you're not there to have a lot of friends, but you're very selective of the friends, but the friends that you do have are like kind of ride or die?
I don't remember what trait or what word that is that associates with that. But yeah, there is that one part of me that, like, we just have to click. And you're in my inner circle. And I do have those ride or die friends that, we can have known each other for 10 years. We can have known each other for 5 months. And regardless of the time, it's like, I know you're in my circle.
Yeah, and your best friends you talk to or text every day, almost every other day. You guys know very well. Whereas for me, and this is probably why I have to go through therapy is or maybe it's just a personality where I feel like I'm very compatible. Like I make a lot of friends regardless, maybe because it's too adaptable. But it's hard for me to go deep. And maybe going deep is a little bit of, there's that fear.
Yeah.
And there's also, you know, wanting to spread, I shared this earlier, being friends with everyone, because it's like you never, you know, what was explained is like, hey, because of all the changes in life, that's my way of, hey, in case something happens, I have a backup, which you really shouldn't see things transactionally like that. But I think that's subconsciously how my mind works, right? I grew up in an environment where I wasn't even at my parents' place the whole time. I grew up in an environment where I changed school 6 times, you know, like it's, there was significant deaths in my childhood, my mother, my aunt, you know. So really getting to that point of like, it's just different. And that's a part of growth of, you know, it's good to have a really close friend, which is still working on, right? God's working on it. I'm working on it. So it's doing that and applying that in real life and in social life. And I think it's great for mental health to have a best friend, because if you don't, you're my best friend. But as a guy, it's good to have guy friends, just like as a girl, it's good to have girl friends, right? And so that's a little bit about social media and mental health, and just unfriending people is okay. Give yourself permission to set those boundaries. I mentioned it's like the art of tidying and cleaning. Like if you've ever read that book with Marie Kondo, we have another podcast on that. But it was like everything around you should bring you joy. Just like this. Like if I look at this, does this bring me joy? And I was like, yes. If it doesn't, then why do I have it? Because either consciously or subconsciously, it's eating away, right? It's like that. It's like if there was like a stain on your wall that is bothering you, like do something about it.
Yeah, and it is. It's giving yourself permission to do the thing that you need to do and not feel bad about it. And I really think that there's something about it where it's just so empowering. You know, once you get over that hump of, I mean, maybe you've been on the fence and, you know, you've wanted to take that step to unfriend that one person or those two people.
Or unfollow.
You know, whatever your convictions are.
A brand or a company even.
Right. And because I went there, I went through the celebrities, the brands, the shops, you know, the music. Like I went through all of those things because I know where my struggles were.
Yeah.
And if I'm struggling with something, I don't want to struggle with it anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's laying it at the altar at God's feet and allowing him to help you to just be a little bit better. We're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect. But at least it's a small step.
Yeah.
Will I maybe follow somebody else in the future? Maybe. I don't know. But but now it's out there. You know, we have some accountability. And, you know, and within my little circle of friends too, I have that accountability. And that I know it's safe. And I know that it's trusted. And I can trust them with that.
Yeah. I think a big litmus test or indicator is your ads because of your algorithms, right? Or the suggested, right? Like, you know, I said I don't like politics, but I do get sucked in. And when I see more political posts, it's like, what am I doing? So, you know, I don't want to see more of these.
Right.
Then I have to also be like, hey, I can't be sending Facebook or other social media platforms mixed messages, because it's like, hey, you say you don't want this, but you're participating in it. Like you have to make those choices. And sure enough, and the indicators, like even the ads or the suggested media, if you don't like it, are you doing something about it? You know, because those are the messages that you're sending across. Those are you. And then it's also a reflection like, oh, this is how I'm sounding to people in real life, right? Yeah. If you don't like it, then don't be a part of it, right? And you'll, just like I said, I started not liking myself. So I guess before we close is like, what are some things that you look for personally? This doesn't apply to everybody. These are just personal choices of what makes you decide to unfollow. Like what is the like nope versus like maybe. It just depends on the person. I think for me, spiritual is a huge one. It's just like there's just something, and I do know some people will be like, hey, that's very bigoted of you. That's very that's not cool. You should be friends with everyone. But there are some things where it's like extreme. If you're a Satanist, like, well, I have no business as a Christian being friends, unless that's where God's called. But to see those kind of posts, like, no, that's not, so Wicca and witches and, all of these things, energy, which I've shared a lot of times because we're in health and wellness and we do with essential oils. There are people that are into it. But there are people that are not, like ourselves. And so just really sorting that out, because it's like water and oil. You'll always fight. There is some conversations. So there are spaces where, you can choose not to participate. Like there's a Facebook group. For example, we have something called doTERRA Diamonds and Above. So anybody that's in that category of people or leaders, is a leadership page for group for doTERRA wellness advocates. So you have people that's the commonality, but you have people that have different views.
Right.
And there are some times where there's a overlap between your views on health and spirituality. And that's where there could be a difference, right? And that's supposed to be that kind of space. But in your personal page or your personal life, it's not good to put yourself in that situation. What are some things?
I think for me, like some of the things is like for like some of the things that I struggle with, like music. I really love music. And sometimes I listen to things that I shouldn't be listening to because of the message that it's sending, right? And I want to not let it soak in, right? And so even though it's considered clean listening or music, certain things, so I've unfollowed those artists. Anything that I feel like I'm struggling, like if I'm looking at someone's life thinking, oh, like I wish I had that. Coveting, like that's like, okay, no, like let's, take a step and, let's just get rid of it. It's easier to just out of sight, out of mind, right? And not to say I still struggle, and then beliefs, like if they're really, now that's like, for me, I feel like I really pray about it. I have to pray about certain people or certain accounts, because I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, nope. Like I know what I don't need. But then there are some that I feel like, obviously they're following me for a reason. What is that reason? Are they attracted because of the God in me? And maybe they're not there yet, but there's something about it about my account that they feel something. Yeah. And am I supposed to be that light for them? Yeah. Not to try to convert them, because God does that. Yeah. But to just actively see and pray. And if they post stuff that but that's really like just not aligned, like it's to a point where, maybe we just met one time and we're, connected on, the platform, then maybe it's like, no, let's filter some of that out. But a lot of times it's, if I don't know, I just take it up to prayer, and sometimes I'll leave those people on for a little bit and sit with God just to see, are they okay? Are they like, is there a purpose that they're here? Yeah. And that somehow I'm in their life or they're in my life. Yes. Yeah.
I think for me, another thing to look at is just the angry people. There are some times where people, like we all have bad days. And so if it's just, one of those days,
Yeah.
people are venting because something happened that in their life that causes that, yeah, I'm going to be a friend. I'm going to reach out and be there. But if there's something that's more deeply rooted, like somebody's just angry and blaming everything in life, like you said, am I here to be a light for them, or is this something that is just like they're just mean spirited?
Yeah. And I think that's where like your discernment comes in, right? Because it's discerning not the right and the wrong. It's discerning, in the spiritual aspect, right?
Yeah. I mean, an easy thing to say is, would you be there in real life? Would you be the type of person that would meet with them for coffee every week, or see each other every day and just talk about life, if they share those views, like if somebody was racist, I am not going to, that will determine how often I would meet with them, which would be very uncomfortable. And if they are that open, and that's the thing about the recent years, I don't know if it's a recent thing, but people are just like no filter. There are some people that I've shared like, hey, it's kind of offensive. And their response was like, I just speak my truth basically. And, my job is not to please people. And, and then some of them is just like, hey, I'm just coming out as a friend.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just offering different point of view. And just leave it at that. But at that time is like, is this what I need in my life right now?
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes it's just a break. There are some people where I'm like, gosh, we have really different views, but I've actually friended them. I've unfriended them and I've slowly let some people back in where I'm just like, you know what? It's okay that we have different views. As long as they're not trying to tell me to believe what they believe.
Yeah. It's that respect. It's the mutual respect of, you're going to do you, I'm going to do me. But, if you're hurting, I'm just going to share some words of encouragement. Or if you see something on mine, we're here to uplift and encourage people to just live, to just move forward in life, to just to be okay, to have that harmony, regardless of, some of your views. And yes, there are some things that I am convicted to stay away from, but as the Lord leads.
Yep. And there's, we're all human.
Right.
I have quirks that would offend a lot of people. And so just having that grace and connecting on just commonality, common interest, sometimes just change the topic, let's just change the topic.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just, even for me, becoming spiritually stronger, your armor of God, right? And also on a mental level, learning different tools where it's like, this shouldn't be bothering me because you can't control people.
Right.
I can control and set the boundaries, but why is it bothering me? And then going through that. So that's basically
that's our life.
That's our life.
Yeah.
That's talking about social media and setting those boundaries.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.